round of the 1992 Bassmasters is already up and running. Mark Britton's through. The Yorkshire Derby between Bob Hitchin and Alan Thompson went Thompson's way. Alan Broadhurst put paid to the youngest challenger this week. It's so long to Simon Cowp. In our first session this afternoon, 4 of the biggest names in the game. Tommy Johnston, N Burrows, Brian Duncan and Norman Fletcher, all winners of major televised championships. They've been there before. Yes, good afternoon from the Woodland Hotel here in Ellesmere Port, day 3 of the Bassmasters. Some truly great bowling to look forward to in absolutely atrocious weather. It's been throwing it down here all day, but play goes on in bowls, Roy, doesn't it?
Yes, nobody likes these conditions, but they just have to get on with it. It's just one of those things. It does make the green different, but as I say, they just have to get on with it.
Well, I wouldn't say everybody doesn't like it. I can think of Len Higginbottom, he didn't mind it too much in the Crown Challenge, and Norman Fletcher over there, he's been successful on television in wet conditions as well. But here's the game's #1, Brian Duncan. What about conditions like this, Brian? Have you is it just a case of getting on with it?
Well, it is, Elton. I mean, I've played in conditions like this all my life, so it's just a matter of on the day and get on with it, really. And
the state of the green, you've had a little bit of a roll-up in the last half an hour or so. What's it doing?
Well, the green's in good condition, considering the amount of rain we've had. I mean, I thought we might have seen some puddles on the green, but there's not any puddles, and it's just a matter of reaching up and being far enough.
Of course, it's a unique match, this, in many ways, because you two are the best of pals, pairs partners. Does that change your ultra-professional attitude in any way that you're playing, Norman?
Well, it doesn't really. I mean, we both want to win the Bass, and whoever loses, obviously, we've just got to accept it. But we'll go out and do our best and just get stuck in. It doesn't make any difference to me.
Thanks, Brian. Can I just move in and have a quick word with Norman? I mean, I think they used to call you the Rainmaker, didn't they, at one time? Were you praying for these conditions last night?
Well, everywhere I go, I think it seems rain, so it's already now enough, really, for me.
You prefer? You don't mind this at all, actually, for the
really,
people at home who don't realise that?
Not really, no. I love it, playing it rain.
And what about playing your old pal?
That should be a stiff match, isn't it? Best man wins on the day.
OK, well, you won the toss. It's your block. Terry's refereeing, and the commentators, in fact, the reigning champion, John Bancroft, who was beaten in the first round, and Hugh Johns.
Thank you, Elton, and immediately let's have a word from John Bancroft on the conditions and perhaps the form of Norman Fletcher himself, the man who beat you.
He played excellently in the first round against myself. If he can keep that form up with the condition of the green as it is today in the rain, I'd just fancy him to take this game, I think.
Well, Norman has set a mark just down below our commentary position here. The rain still drizzling down, not beating down torrentially as it was earlier. That's a pretty good lead. So Brian Duncan's first bowl of this match. Norman Fletcher, as usual, chasing up alongside his bowl. Is he going to squeeze past the blue? No. So he's holding one.
Yard short, you.
Pushed that one out very wide. Thumb pegging. Needs to peg tight. No. Single.
Fletcher, one.
Storm Norman Fletcher. Best performance in the semi-final. That was against Len Higginbottom in 1983. Went out 11-21. This is the 3rd time he's been in the tournament. And that makes sad reading for my co-commentator, John Bancroft, up here. He really got a hold of the game against you, John, didn't he?
Yeah, he took the game by the scruff of the neck. He played me on the virtually the same marks he's taking Brian on now. And interestingly enough, he's one of the few players who'll probably play Brian at his own game in the corners, and it wouldn't surprise me to see Brian actually take Norman away from the corner marks, maybe trying to play three-quarter corners.
Well, his first attempt, Norman got it all wrong, and it looks as though Brian's got it right, or has he? Ditch weight. They do run away in that corner of the green. There's a little bit of a shelf there, isn't there, John?
Yeah, it's just where the jack's positioned. As soon as they get past the jack, they'll pick up speed and away into the ditch they go.
Well, the heavy rain that we've had may have slowed the green up just a tiny bit in that corner, but not all that much.
Duncan, one.
So Brian Duncan gets a single against the mark that Norman Fletcher set. Brian Duncan, well, practically everything in the game, isn't it? The Waterloo 4 times. I mean, anybody can get that sort of thing is brilliant. John Eccles, he did have his problems against John Eccles, and he only just scraped through at the back end of his round 1 match. But as we've said before, Brian Duncan, the sort of bloke, he either goes out in the first round or he goes on to the final. He's won it against Peter Richardson, he's won it against Kevin Shaw. And I think immediately, John, Brian has done more or less what you said he would do, not play the corners.
No, well, I made that comment because speaking to Norman earlier on in the week, I know on Wednesday morning they were here practicing together. They were here practicing together and they were playing the long corner marks, and I noticed that Norman was getting in more often than Brian, so...
Well, these two certainly would know each other tremendously well. Pairs partners, they've been in some marvellous finals. Not the least of them, one of the BBC pairs.
It just moves too, but it's close, Brian. You look on the other side, it's close.
Little chat with Brian Duncan and
Yeah, I know,
referee Terry Ashcroft. Under the umbrella, our dear friend Frank Kitchen used to wear a marvellous tartan water suit out there, but Terry favours the umbrella. One for certain, and probably 2.
I would imagine Norman must think it's 2, otherwise he would have struck at that.
Yeah, probably.
He's going to have a very good look at it.
Next, please.
Invite the measurers out.
He's stand well away from the end, Norman, here, and he'll ask the referee's opinion, but don't be misled by that. He's one of the best judges in the game. Years ago in the final of the Waterloo, Brian asked Norman actually to come on the green and give him an opinion as to who was in. It's not allowed now, but... and he was right, of course.
Well, this to be judged by Terry Ashcroft with the assistance of the measurers Will Folk and Frank Lomax.
Duncan, 2.
2 it is. And that was why Norman called the measures on, hoping that it might possibly go against the double. So 3-1 to Brian Duncan. The lead just a fraction long from Brian. Norman Fletcher. Thumb peg, the bias towards the ditch. All about weight because the road is right. And this road is a bit tidy too, so if he can pull up now, it's the winner. And it does. Raindrops still clattering down here at the Woodland Hotel. It's been raining all morning. It's what, 1:25 at the moment. No signs of it letting up. And even so, there's a goodly crowd out around this green. It's down the road at Whitby, down the road from Ellesmere Port. Good lead. And that's a superb reply. Absolutely right on the button. Norman told to turn his boat over. Brian staying on the finger peg. Hasn't quite got the legs. To be satisfied with one. Both of them were saying before the match, John, that they would find no difficulty playing against each other, but surely two men who know each other's game as well as these two have got to find some tiny little edge somewhere.
Yes, well, for Brian to go from the very beginning of the game and not to play the corners shows the respect that he must have for Norman in the corners, really. And when they play in pairs, they play everybody in the corners, and when they decide to come out, it's always Brian that leads the jack. He's always the one who takes charge on the short mark, so it's no surprise really to see him adopting this tactic.
Oh, cracking bowls. Norman going to use weight here?
If he can see the jack, I would think he will, but his own ball might be just in the way.
It is.
1/4 inch off and then 6 inch. Short, 20 inches short.
He might even clatter his own bowl in. No. He's going to try and draw it. Needs that bowl to do a little bit of pegging around the front one. The road looks pretty good. Well, he saved one.
Duncan, 1.
That was a fine, delicate delivery from Norman Fletcher. The short yellow bowl, preventing him striking, but he just gets enough on to disturb the head. Unluckily didn't stay with the jack himself. It goes to a blue bowl, but he saves one. And that's a very good lead from Brian Duncan. Brian 5-2 up. Then the reply from Norman, only about 8 to 9 inches short of winning that end. Taking it further away from the yellow ball, so he's counting 2.
Yes, but again, Norman's own ball's in an awkward position here. He's going to struggle to get round it. He might just play on his own ball and try and push it into the end.
Stayed out, so that's another 2. Brian Duncan. 5 chalks in it now, 7-2. Brian Duncan leads. Brian Duncan, the 1991 Tournament Players Association top-ranked bowler, ahead of Gary Wallace, and in 3rd place Robert Hitchin. Norman with a stately tread.
Yes, Norman.
Eases his bowl in towards the jack, and Well, it's a long way away, but it's counting at the moment. That situation may not last very much longer. And it doesn't. Just missed it.
Duncan, what?
Another one to Brian Duncan. N Fletcher being given a little bit of a lesson by his great mate, the Grandmaster, Brian Duncan. I wonder what Roy might feel about the state of this game and how it may develop further now.
Yes, Hugh, Roy, for a corner player, Brian Duncan's not playing the short marks badly, is he?
No, Norman, of course, is used to this kind of thing. Most of the people that he plays play this sort of length, but they don't usually play it with the accuracy that Brian's playing it. And in fact, of course, for the last 20 years, this is exactly what Brian has done against Norman Fletcher. Always played him shortish.
Brian clearly wanting to prevent Norman getting into the corners, where he's built up a reputation of being just about the best in the business, and in these conditions even more so, Roy.
Yes, when they were professionals, Norman was classed as the best corner player in the game, and Brian respects that, of course. And here's Norman now. He's counting two. You'll see him go right out as far as he can. That's all he'll do, as far as he can. I think he'll go finger peg up to the scoreboard.
8-4 Duncan, long range stuff. That's the view down here now, Hugh.
Yes, and I think that's a pretty accurate summary of what will now develop. Immediately, Norman's got the block and bungs it away into that far corner. And he's really got to count on this end, because then he's in a perfect position to exploit the longest diagonal of this Woodlands Hotel green. Brian will fight him to get the block back. Wait for Terry Ashcroft to indicate.
Norman, that last ball.
So Norman has a bowl to beat. What he'd dearly love is one right smack on the target. Nope. It's probably closer.
Could be two now, Brian.
One will do Norman. But Brian wants that block back. It looks as though it's going to win it. Yes. He's done it. So a wasted opportunity for Norman Fletcher. It could be costly, John.
Yeah, it was a great last ball though from Brian there. It's not only just countered the end, he's kept Norman away from his favourite corner mark again. He's going right back to the middle of the green where he's built up his big lead.
Another lovely lead from Brian Duncan. Norman, always a quick man up to the mat and getting the bowl away off it. He had that yellow ball on the road fractionally after Brian's bowl had stopped running. He'd love to get a good firm contact on the block here. He's not going to get that, but he might just do enough. Oh, what rotten luck. That was almost the kiss of death. Just a little touch on the block. Run away from it. One for certain, might even be two. No,
Duncan,
one it is. 6 chalks in it. And Brian is on the road home, perhaps. This is very different, Brian Duncan, to the one that played John Eccles in the first round. As Brian struggled from time to time there to get the better of the current Waterloo champion, and only just managed to get home 21-20. Work a bit, work a bit, work a bit. Beautiful.
So it could be 2, Norman.
Well, it's a perfect striking target.
That ball's in the way, Sport, a bit. Close.
Brian certainly isn't giving anything away. All he will admit to his old mate Norman is it's close. It's close for 2.
True professional Brian there.
Up to you, Norman. You come and have a look yourself and see what you think. Well, if he uses weight, he can't do anything much more than kill the end.
Closer than the other one, this.
Norman will be desperate for this only to be one so he can have a strike and try and shift Brian's nearest counting ball out and count himself.
That's right.
And he needs that sort of ball to bring himself back into the game. His body language over the last couple of ends, he's had a couple of good balls that have been beaten or just trickled out, and his shoulders have just drooped a little bit. He just needs a little bit of a spark just to get himself back in the game and get him fired up again.
That's right.
Oh, he's lost it completely there. I think the journey up to the head and back again disturbed his concentration, lost his way. So, I suspect we shall have a measuring job here.
Pegs, please.
Yeah. And 2 here could be, well, not exactly curtains for Norman, but it would stretch Brian Duncan's lead to 8, and that would take an awful lot of pegging back, wouldn't it, John?
There's not many people come from 8 behind against Brian Duncan, I can assure you that, Hugh.
Yeah.
Well, it's
right. Only one.
just the one.
Duncan, 1.
Nevertheless, a 7 shots advantage now. 7 chalks between them. And Brian back onto this mark that he has been master of throughout this game. It's not only a tactical supremacy that he's achieved, but he's carried it out with superb bowling as well.
Yeah, he's playing good leads all the time, and that's making Norman reach up to the jack. And just where the jack is, it's a little bit of a downhill finish, and the green being wet and greasy, Norman's bigger balls are just running out and running on past the jack.
Dead length, Norman.
Now it's counting 2. Now Norton, can he pinch that block back? That road looks tidy. Might just have saved one.
Duncan, 1.
Brian Duncan with an imperious gesture of one finger, silencing the barrackers on the terraces.
And it shows how committed he is to win this game. It's not often you get a reaction like that from Brian, especially so early in the game.
And the rain absolutely bucketing down.
Norman will be praying for some more of this. A heavy thunderstorm might be just what he needs. With this Woodlands green, it's holding the water quite well at the moment, but it's quite a few humps and hollows in it, and they can soon fill up with water, and it might just be what Norman needs just to break Brian's length up a little bit.
I remember him in the Greenhalls against Len Higginbottom when it bucketed down, and of course again in the Crown Challenge, though Norman was unable to win the Crown Challenge final, and he did win the Greenhalls. Won it twice against Glyn Cookson and against Len Higginbottom. Has he got a single here? Yes, he has. And the fortune favours Norman Fletcher. Well, at this moment we'll be leaving you, but we'll have plenty more action from this tense game when you come back to us, I'm sure.
When a real cat decides to give an old dog the runaround and teach him a few tricks, there's only one thing more satisfying: kitty cat. With its 17 vitamins and minerals, you can be sure that whatever he's up to, he's up to it with kitty cat.
Seiko, the official timer of the games of the 25th Olympiad. Seiko, the measure of greatness.
Drink, darling, Black Label. I'll just go and ask.
The only way to get a higher rate than your top 10 Building Society notice account and instant access is to call this number. I would, if I were you.
Who can you count on to know what you want? With 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections, the Thompson directory is bound to know.
The burn of acid indigestion. Rennie works fast. For fast, effective relief of indigestion and heartburn, take Rennie.
I've just won News of the World Summer Bingo.
Give us a bit, don't be shellfish.
Now we can take the nippers on holiday.
Plus part 1 of the Coronation Street Cookbook. All the stars' favourite recipes, from Betty's gorgeous Manchester tart to Alec's beef in beer.
Oi, crab salads off.
Get your Summer Bingo card with the News of the World this Sunday.
For a new way to a new Ford, phone free for your options prospectus on 0800 111 222.
Nestlé clusters, whole wheat flakes and walnuts, pecans and almonds, all cleverly clustered together with a touch of honey. It's so nutty, chances are you won't be the only one to appreciate it. If you like nuts, you'll love Nestlé clusters.
There's another Lurpak Olympic gold winning score.
Listerine twice a day is clinically proven to give effective protection against plaque lasting 24 hours. Listerine helps take breath away and keep plaque at bay.
Welcome back. The rain is getting heavier, and Norman Fletcher's task is getting all the more difficult, Roy, isn't it? 16-5 now, Duncan. Even when Norman gets the block, he loses it again straight away.
Yes, to be honest, Brian's not giving him much chance. Just at the penultimate end there, he played his ball off the green, and Norman played a good ball, but then he repaired it. He took 3 yards out of the bowl, and I think what's happening now is the incessant rain is making the surface skiddy. The ball, it's a greasy surface, and the balls are skimming on the top. Very, very difficult for the players to guess the length.
Well, Brian Duncan seems to be guessing the length pretty well and consistently throughout this match. Magnificent performance, you have to say.
Yes, and the other side of the coin, of course, is Norman's had no luck. He's gone through the gap about 3 times. Every little tig, every little knock is going against him. And that's the way it goes. When you're struggling, all the fates seem to be against you.
Brian Duncan lying one on this end, but he's certainly not going to count with that one, Roy. Way off the mark. Most uncharacteristic.
I thought Norman would have had a bang at that, really, but he's just reaching up, hoping to get past his own ball. Yeah, good ball.
Beautiful bowling by Norman Fletcher. My word, Hugh, he needed that. I wonder whether John feels he's maybe just a little bit too far behind, though.
Well, that's the point, isn't it, John? He's 10 chalks down, and you were saying earlier, nobody gives Brian Duncan that sort of a start.
No, he doesn't, but Norman's just changed his tactics. It's the first time in the game he's gone for the opposite corners. He's been persisting, possibly for too long, in playing the longer corners. And I feel, especially in my game, the corners he's trying to go in now, he played those very well, and they're more difficult, actually, so he might just have a little bit more success there.
A little bit of a downhill finish here, and Brian has judged it well. Norman with it all to do with his second bowl. How does he feel about it? Yes! Fortune favoured the brave then. It's got to be a dead draw. Anything you can do, I can do better. How about that for a ball, John?
When Brian Duncan's in this mood, there's not a lot you can do with him.
Oh. Let's look at that one again, John.
Well, he's just played a couple of feet over, tried to sit the ball out. Fantastic ball, that. Control weight, perfect.
Yeah. The master is showing Norman and everybody here just how it should be done in desperately difficult weather conditions. But apart from anything else, John, it isn't as though it's constant rain of the same velocity all the time. It's gusting, it's sometimes bucketing down, sometimes just drizzling down. It's always different.
Yeah, and the condition of the green's changing all the time. It's such a good draining green with a high crown. The slopes take the rain off the green right away, and the speed, and like Roy was saying earlier, the conditions of the greasiness of the turf alters, and that does affect the running of the balls and the handling when you're delivering them. Sometimes it can slip out of your hand. And Norman, he's got a little bit of a flicky type delivery, and it doesn't help him really when it gets a little bit too wet.
Hey, he's got one.
It's a good ball from Norman. He needed that ball to keep him in the game.
Well, he's in a position now to come back down here into the corner below us. Now, Elton, you can see this one pretty clearly right down below you.
We are right on top of it here, I can tell you, and as far as Norman Fletcher's concerned, Roy, he's just got to hold on to the block. He keeps losing it whenever he wins an end, and he's not led particularly well here. In fact, it's in the ditch.
Just gone off, yeah. Really, he needs a front toucher. Brian's in irrepressible form, isn't he? Everything that Norman puts up, as you say, he's beating it, and when Norman's had a good ball, he's come and sat on it. Look at this again. Another real humdinger here. He will not be denied.
I do believe, Roy, that it's actually stopped raining. You can put the brolly down. Oh, he's played a shocking end, and he knows it.
Yes, and what's interesting me today is that Brian, of course, is playing with some different bowls. When he played on Thursday, he played with some composition bowls when he beat John Eccles, and these are wooden bowls, and I don't ever remember him playing with these bowls before. But it's a hell of a gamble, and he's taken it, and it's come off for him.
And of course, Hugh, that leaves him just 2 chalks from victory. It could all be over in this end.
Yes, indeed, Dale. Now, it's a scoreline I'm sure that none of us would have forecast. It's anybody's choice, in fact, who would win this one. But Brian has left us in no doubt from the very outset.
No, like Roy said, he's irrepressible today, and all the players will be watching the pavilion, and they'll all be trembling at the knees, I can assure you of that. They'll all be glad it's Norman out there and not them.
Yeah, we could be watching at this very moment. A man who is setting himself up with this sort of skill and this sort of quality to win the Bass Masters for the 3rd time. Every bowl that Norman delivers now is just to keep himself alive.
Fletcher, 2.
And he's got 2 out of that. And Norman goes into this corner again. The one you were saying, John, he exploited to some effect against you.
Yes, he played it very well. Most players tend to go thumb peg into that corner and play with the slope of the green. Norman went the opposite peg, allowing the bowls to fall back towards the jack, and kept stopping the bowls a couple of feet in front, making me play up them past them. Obviously, the green being a bit heavier today, he's not able to do that against Brian, but he's played a good lead here. Let's see how Brian copes with this.
Seems to put very much more running on that one. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Gosh, he did need to hit. If he hadn't made a contact then, he'd gone flying past. Oh, what about this? Just pulled up. One for certain. Pegs for 2.
One moment.
No, just the one. Now then. Long diagonal. That looks strong. Is it going to stop? Yes. Only just, though. That's a... There's a foot of green behind that jack, so anything jack high with a bit of running in it will disappear. Tentative lead bowl from Norman.
Yeah, just where they're sending the bowls from now, there are a couple of ridges a couple of yards in front of them, and Norman just caught one of those as he was delivering, and that's why it's so short. It is difficult getting away from where they are.
Yes, that one bobbled again too.
Yes, he seemed to catch it again, exactly the same place, and I think it's had the same effect on the ball.
Yes. Well, Brian Duncan, I think, is about to win this match. He's only got to get past those 2 short bowls and stay on the green, and the handshake will follow. It does indeed. Well, the master was in irrepressible form, was a phrase used earlier both by Roy Armstrong and John Bancroft, and that is certainly true. Brian Duncan, totally in charge, puts out his old mate Norman Fletcher, 21-10.
Thanks very much indeed, Hugh. 21-10 the score. Very comprehensive win, really, for Brian Duncan against his old pal. He's looking very good again, Roy, isn't he?
Bassmasters classic form, isn't it? You know, he just wouldn't be denied. Everything that Norman put up, he beat. Who can live with that?
And in terrible conditions, we're delighted to announce that it has actually stopped raining, but the green is still pretty spongy, although it's drained very well. It's surprising, really, when you consider the volume of rain we've had today, that there's no surface water at all.
Absolutely. I think the greenkeeper will be highly delighted. Many of the greens in the surrounding area, I feel sure, will have puddles on. Not a trace of puddles on this green, and in fact it's run extremely well.
Right, OK, Roy. Brian has come over and joined us. Thanks, Brian. Well done. Many congratulations. You'll be delighted with that performance.
I played well, actually. I'm quite happy the way I've played. I struggled a bit on Thursday, and I've certainly played a lot better today.
The game plan appeared to be don't allow Norman in the corners.
Well, I don't mind going in the corners, but I've played Norman a lot of times, and I just feel that obviously strong suit is in the corner, so I think I'll just play half the game and let him take me in the corner and see what happens.
Do you actually enjoy playing in these conditions? Is it a bit of a novelty or not?
I actually do enjoy these conditions. I hope it's like this tomorrow. I mean, I don't mind it at all. I mean, if it goes 10 yard heavy, it won't bother me. Did you have a little bit of a chat between the two of you throughout the game? I wouldn't like to say what he called me like, but that's beside the point. No, we're just friends, and but when you're on the green, it's like everything else. You both want to win, and you just try to win. You said from day one that you were happy with the green. You're happy with your form, clearly. Your year again? Well, if I play like that, I'll be certainly delighted, because, all right, if I get beat, but I'll be quite happy the way I'm playing now. Mark Britton in the next round. What's the score between the two of you? I think I might be in front of him, actually. I think he just beat me at Fishwick Ramblers about a couple of months since, really, but I think overall I was certainly in front of him. Just one general comment on the Bassmasters this year. We said yesterday at the end of the first round that arguably the best first round we've had in 10 years. The standard, the quality is supreme this year, isn't it? Well, it is really. I think it's all down to the green as well. I mean, the green is in superb condition. It's not absolutely flying. I mean, we've been previous years when it's been a dry spell, and we've had some burr patches and they've been screaming really, and it's been very difficult to play length, but the way the green is now, it's perfect. I mean, if you play bad, it's your own fault. You're still the favourite, you'll be glad to know. Well, favourites don't always win, do they, like last night on the television, but it's just how it goes. I mean, I don't bother about the betting at all. I just come and play and just do my best. OK, Brian, thanks very much indeed. Let's see how one of your old sparring partners is getting on, or was getting on, against Tommy Johnston a little earlier on. Really was a terrific performance by Johnston early on. He went 13-0 in front, and Burrows has got the block. It's 15-5 or 15-4, I think it is, to Tommy. There he is. It was pouring down earlier on when they were playing. Against Noel was having a really torrid time of it. The commentators are Roy and Brian, as Noel looks to have scored another chalk there.
He stands in the middle of the green, shakes his head. He cannot believe it. The shoulders are sagging. He hasn't done much wrong, but this man here has done everything right. Tommy Johnstone just pulled up short.
Johnstone won.
Johnstone won, the blue. Tommy Johnstone again. Well, no, it's uphill. The green is invariably uphill. The battle is uphill. He's won on here before, but 16-5 is asking an awful lot of anybody. Right, now then, Johnstone bruising the jack again, Roy. Look at that. He hits it time after time.
Yes, I think Noel will be looking at that, and he'll think it's like playing a man with his own jack that's absolutely biased to his bowls.
It's like playing a machine this morning. This is a good bowl from Burrows. Run on, run on, run on. Just given up. Shakes his head. Now then, Johnstone. It's difficult to get through to the jack. Got to be far enough, Roy, hasn't he, with this?
Yes, I think this is the correct bowl. He's come the other peg, I think, here. He's just trying to clip that ball out.
Yeah, the peg will take it away,
just
won't
across.
It? Unfortunate. Another one. Johnstone closer and closer. Well, he won his first game 21-6. He leads this one 17-5. A mean machine is Tommy Johnstone. Now living in Warrington, was in the Withington area for many years, where Noel Burrows learned the game. They both learned the game over in Withington, Roy.
Yes, Tommy was virtually brought up on a green at the Waterloo Hotel at Withington, a very famous green, which is actually at the present time in jeopardy.
Yes.
There's talk of developing on the green, and we've just organised a petition along with the club members to try and save it.
Well, when it produces players like that, you wonder. They're actually, Roy, they're almost skimming these bowls out now, aren't they? They're not cobbing, standing there and heaving them. But if you have a look at Tommy Johnstone, as this bowl goes in from Burrows to be second, he's giving it a little bit of lift. Look at that. He's not actually rolling them out, is it?
No. No, they're just what they try to do. They try to just lift it up the first yard or 4 feet, just to give it a sort of a duck and drake action. It's not cobbing yet. The green is taking the water really well. And that's why Noel's struggling. He's really having to send these bowls. You can see the spray coming up off the bowl now. And inevitably it's short.
He's unlucky again, you know. That's 2 connections for nothing. It saves 1. But Johnstone getting closer and closer to what would be a quite remarkable scoreline. It's the margin, isn't it, Roy? It's not the fact that Tommy looks as though he's going to win this. It is the margin.
Yes, it's in these conditions. I can't stress too much how well Tommy's played. It's not easy out there at all. And Tommy's playing really, really well. And Noel looks a bit forlorn. He's got nothing really to cheer him up.
Yeah, it's a bit of a lonely place out there, isn't it? Particularly when it's 5-18 against you and against this man. Now then, the bowl again is picking up the spray and trying to get through. Short. Johnstone just lifts it for the first yard. He set the mark. Hey, he's not much better, if anything, at all. He's not. They're well spread out. This is the effect of the rain. It's beginning to slow the bowls considerably as this tries to sneak in far enough. Burrows waving it on. Yes, still the 1. Another 1. Tommy Johnstone. A double away from a quite astonishing win. 19-5 the advantage.
And just looking at Noel there, Brian, I think he'll be glad to get off the green.
I think he'll be glad to get into the players' hut and dry off and put this one just down to experience.
Look at that.
This end after end that the leads are almost unbeatable. He's got to reach. He's got to be far enough. The accuracy could suffer because of that. Look at that. He's getting nothing. One more can I do? Well, he's in fact widened the target, Roy, hasn't he?
Yes, it all depends where this bowl finishes. I think Tommy's just trying to put one right in the middle there to block it up.
Well, he's not quite done it. There's a good chance here for Burrows, but of course it's asking a lot in these conditions to be far enough and be accurate enough and get the work of the bowl with the bias. No.
Johnston,
another single. Tommy Johnstone. 5 successive chalks to put him just a point away from victory over the old master, his old pal, no Burrows. 25, would you believe it? Same area, just moving the jack a shade. Between the crowns, I suppose it might just hold some water, Roy, now.
Yes, he's gone about 3 yards further with the jack here, and I don't know whether he's caught Noel out. I think Noel might just beat this bowl.
I think Noel's
spot on. Yeah, it's a good bowl.
Yes, oh, they like that. You wouldn't put it past Johnston to beat that. The way he's been playing, he's 25 ahead, needs 1 for victory. Well, it's further, but is off the line. So Burrows lives 1. I don't know about needing him in 2s. He needs them in bucketfuls now, 3s and 4s. He's going to pull up just the 1.
Burrows 1.
Right, now then,
where can he go?
Well, where can he go where he's safe? Nowhere. Ideally, he'd like to go in the players' hut out of this rain. 6:20 off the mat. Hey, well, he's taking him on, Roy, isn't he? He's going for the corner. Let's have a fling.
Yes, it's a very good policy, really, this. In these conditions, he's no use playing up the side of the green. He's not sure to get good bowls, and got to make sure of reaching up here. Going about 40 yards here, through all the water and the green. Finger peg between the 2 crowns. just a little bit on the low side, I think, here.
Yes, he's almost reach, and that in itself is something. Johnston just getting more height with his delivery. He's happy with this, Johnston. It's almost like target bowls. You pick out the jack and go straight for it in these conditions, but he's run through. Even with so much surface water on the green, that bowl ran 2 yards through. Now Burrows. He's got to get closer, or else this could be it. The 25th end of a quite astonishing game. Burrows daren't even look. He turns round, watches the bowl. He trails 6-20. He may all of a sudden be trailing more, and it's over and out. There's a handshake, a damp handshake. Tommy Johnston raises his cap. Rich applause. A staggering performance by Tommy Johnstone. And what a scoreline. Absolutely unbelievable. Tommy Johnstone, 21. Noel Burrows, the inaugural winner of the Bass, 6.
Absolutely amazing. The second round scores then. Mark Britton going through. Brian Duncan, Alan Thompson and Alan Broadhurst. Martin Bacon against Copeland still to come. Tommy Johnston there, 21-6 against Noel Burrows. Staggering margin of victory. Karen Johnston is yet to play. You'll be able to see her in our next programme, 3 against Mike Holden, and Richard Bentley against Stan Frith. Roy, quite simply, you just don't go and beat Noel Burrows 21-6 without playing possibly the best game of bowls you've ever played in your life.
Historically, they've always been hard battles, but Noel's never experienced anything like that. Tommy was absolutely unstoppable.
Now, it really is jolly cold here this afternoon. It's not only wet, it's pretty nippy as well, but the heat has been provided by Brian Duncan and Tommy Johnston. I mean, on the face of it, you'd say they look set for the final.
On the face of it, you would say that, yeah. They've both been superb, but Brian Duncan in his game never gave Norman a chance. Everything that Norman put up, he just licked it, and he was superb.
Well, there's one lady left in, and that's Tommy Johnston's wife, Karen. We'll be able to see her in our next programme, and it's going to be difficult in these conditions, isn't it?
Yes, mine. I think Karen's quite used to it. She might do well.
Okay, well, we'll see in our next programme. That's at 3:25. Rejoin us here in Ellesmere Port.
And in
Masters, and welcome to the first time this week to everyone in the northeast who are joining us this afternoon. Well, it's still raining here at the Woodland Hotel in Ellesmere Port. It's pretty nippy, but the temperature, well, it really is rising out there on the green as we approach the big money stages. Don't forget, it's £7,500 to the winner of the Bass Masters, and that's a record for Crown Green bowls. Well, let's start with the concluding ends of 2 games played a little earlier in the second round, starting with the one between David Copeland and Martin Bacon.
2012, and very quickly into his stride, and of course away into the far corner, and why not? This is where he's built his lead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 doubles in that 20. Half his score in doubles. Is the lead any better? Just moved the jack, Roy, hasn't it, to the other side?
Yes, he has, but in these conditions, you know, keeping hold of the jack for a few ends, it's absolutely vital, because you get a feel of the running. The following player's got it all to do, and all Marty can do is keep on reaching.
He's reached. He needed a hit. Oh, good bowl for nothing. 2012, Copeland leads. And he holds 1 at the moment, but really, ideally, he would like to be a lot closer to the jack. This time, maybe. Better? Now then, all against Martin Bacon. Trails. 12-20, 2 against him. He's not sure. Got a lot of effort into this bowl. The line looks okay. Needs a connection, needs a hit. But he's hit it, in fact, to the receiving bowl. The yellow disc bowl of David Copeland. It's the end for Martin Bacon. The conditions not ideal, but certainly Copeland, the better player on the day. He wins it. David Copeland, 21. Martin Bacon, 12. All the way across the green. Not corners, but maybe after, what, nearly 40 minutes out there in the driving rain. It's far enough.
Yes, I thought he would go a little bit further than this, but on reflection, I think he's going to a point that he's used in his previous game with Ken Armitage.
There's a vicious swing here, Roy, isn't there, at the end?
Yes, look at the peg on that. Swinging right away there. That's gone nearly 2 yards past.
It's almost a circular tour. If Stan gets the length right, his road looks okay. Or he might just be missing the bank there. He's up onto the crown, isn't he? Now it should curl quite dramatically. Not enough, the length wrong. They seem, as they approach the second of the split crowns here, just to cut away and then back. Could do with knowing who's on there. I fancy it's Frith. It is Stan Frith, who needs 2 for game, is holding 1 with his length bowl. If he gets up here, then he's a winner. The line similar to his first. He now needs to stop, and if he stops right, he's a winner. Richard Bentley goes out. Sporting handshake. Good piece of work by Super Sub. Stan Frith wins again. 21, Stan Frith. Richard Bentley, the man from Liversedge, West Yorkshire, 11.
Well, here are the results from that section of the draw. Martin Bacon losing to David Copeland 21-12. Tommy Johnston beating Noel Burrows 21-6. Great performance by Tommy, and we'll be able to see how his wife Karen gets on a little later on against Mike Holden. And there's Stan Frith, a substitute appearance in the Bassmasters this year for Stan, but he's going along very nicely, beating Richard Bentley there 21-11. And with me now is the reigning champion, who was beaten in the first round this year, John Bancroft, which isn't unusual in the Bassmasters. I have to tell you, it's happened on 6 previous occasions, so nothing to be ashamed of there, John. Stan Frith, he came in late, having won the All England Championship last weekend, and is moving along quite nicely. I don't think he'll be disappointed with the way he's been playing.
No, he'll feel it's a bonus. He didn't expect to qualify, I wouldn't imagine. He turned up, I believe, at home after winning the All England and found out he'd qualify for the Bassmasters as well by coming as a reserve. So, and I think qualifying so late, he'll feel he's all to gain, really, and not have the pressure of worrying about it for weeks on end, so he might be playing nice and relaxed.
Well, for all the folks in the northeast, in the Tyne Tees region, to sum up what we've seen so far this week, I think it's fair to say that the really hot bowls have been played by the game's #1 Brian Duncan and Tommy Johnston.
Yeah, Tommy Johnston earlier on this morning against Noel Burrows in devastating form. He didn't give Noel a chance. I was speaking to Noel after the match, and Noel said it's the best he's ever played to score only 5 chokes. Then later on, Brian against N Fletcher. We were all expecting it being a real top game. Norman had played an excellent game against myself in the first round, and I fancied Norman to just sneak it, really, I must admit, but Brian was absolutely devastating. I've not seen him play as well as that for probably a couple of seasons, and on that form, he's definitely the man they've all got to beat.
So finally, is he the man who's going to be in your position you were in 12 months ago, holding the trophy? Who is your tip for the title?
Well, I think if I had to put my life and my house on it, I'd go for Brian. But as an outsider, I just fancy David Copeland. He's my county captain, so I've got to favour him a little bit. But he played some good bowls today, and I think we'll see a good game between him and Tommy. But as an outsider, David Copeland.
OK, John, thanks very much indeed. We're going to take a break right now. After that, we're going to see how Tommy's better half, Karen, gets on in her match against Mike Holden. Don't go away. Join us very soon.
What car magazine put this Hyundai above the Sierra 1.8 LX and Cavalier 1.8 Li? We think you'll like the sound of it too. The Lantra from the high-tech, high-spec Hyundai range. Sound out your dealer now, and it'll sound even better.
Who cares about your photographs as much as you do? Who cares that if you want advice, there's someone there to help? Who cares enough to check each and every print by hand? And who cares that you might need them on the hour? Who cares?
Blue skies, blazing sun. Solution? Dark glasses.
This weekend, Texas Tom's ripping prices in half. Like this Malmo dining set. Extending table, 4 upholstered chairs. Under half price, just $99.95 till 8 p.m. Tuesday. There's even a choice of finishes. This weekend at Tom's Place, Texas.
Come on, young man, we're going outside.
Oh, hello, Mum. Didn't see you there.
Oh, gosh, you're getting so heavy.
Whoa, mind that basket.
There, how's that?
Very nice, thank you. Now then. Oh, doesn't he realise I'll inherit that T-shirt soon? Yes, I can see it needs a wash.
Last one.
No, I'm full. Oh, that T-shirt's clean. Another wash, it'll fade to girly pink.
I just washed that.
Careful with that lolly, James.
Too late. Bye-bye, red. Hang on. Mum's been using new Persil colour all the time. Word in the creche is it gets rid of dirt without bleaching out colour. It's clean. It's still red.
New Persil colour. Washes out stains without bleaching out colour.
Maybe red doesn't suit me after all.
This week's Sunday Express brings you 2 extra colour supplements with the best of what's new in your area. From films, to TV, to concerts, and local exhibitions. Plus all the gossip for the new football season with John Lukic of Leeds United. And the exclusive Sky Football fixtures wall chart for the new Premier League and Divisions 1 and 2. And read part 1 of the best-selling novel that tells you what could have happened if Hitler had won the war. It's all in Britain's fastest-growing newspaper, the Sunday Express.
Please do not attempt to out-pop, pop, the new microwave popcorn from Golden Valley. It could lead to disappointment. Instead, savor the sound of each piping hot kernel bursting into fluffy popcorn, making it the hot snack that's really worth serving. You can't out-pop, pop.
The Kitchen Factory half-price sale is now on. Save up to 50% on fitted kitchens. Right now at the Kitchen Factory, Bury, Stockport, Manchester in Lewis's and Elk Mill Oldham.
Welcome back. The Johnston family are going well. Let's see Karen now against Mike Holden, where the weather was its very, very worst earlier on this morning. Karen trailing, commentators Brian Brett and Hugh Johns.
So Karen, Johnston 8, Mike Holden 9. 17 chalks on the board and only 3 singles have been scored. Everything else has been in doubles. And Karen more than holding her own here. Good lead. Mike Holden. That was a friendly gesture. Just rolled the blue ball fractionally closer to the target. Mike with a lot more pace on this, wanting to disturb it. And did, but the blue ball holds. So, 9 across. And the rain continuing to tip down here at the Woodlands. 9 across. Karen, yeah, plastered down by the rain. Grim-faced. A job to do for herself and for ladies' bowls. That bowl ran a little bit further, Brian.
Yes, there is a bank, isn't there, down there, Hugh, so that it might just have a dryish area on the approach, and then all the water is going to be gathered towards the ditch behind it. Mike's not found it.
Karen trying to take a little running out. Oh dear. And that has promoted the yellow bowl to count.
It's turned over, trying the other hand.
Looks a bit wide, yes. I think it's only the one.
Having a long look at this.
Yeah, just looks it, doesn't it? Yes. Thanks, please.
Karen won't give anything away.
Can we do these two, please, Jen?
I thought he'd already indicated that Mike Holden with the yellow disc was on, but Karen's not accepted that.
Yeah. First ball, mate.
Yeah.
Holding! 2!
2 it is for Mike Holden. So Mike Holden puts this mark down below us, or does he? Is it stay on? No, it doesn't.
You wouldn't have thought that possible, would you? To throw the jack off in these conditions. He has gone for distance.
So Mike having thrown the block in the ditch, Karen will set the mark, but Mike Holden will have first bowl to it. Now, can Karen remember exactly how she cast this block? The fair one. It's gone through. Come again, Karen, they shout. And she has. So Karen Johnston levels it up, 11 across. Karen with a whole string of successes behind her ever since, as a 17-year-old, she won the Wire Festival in the Waterloo in the same year, 1982. Ladies Waterloo, of course, and the Ladies Wire.
One down, Karen, yeah.
Karen needing to take something off her first bowl. Not a lot. That's just about dead right. What a beauty. Real quality bowl, the second one from Karen Galvin. Flying through.
Johnston, 1.
So Karen Johnston, 12, Mike Holden, 11. Karen Johnston, Karen Galvin as was.
She's going for distance, Hugh. That's interesting, isn't it? But she's taking Mike Holden, and Mike was heavily fancied to win this heat. 2-1 against to win the heat. Slight difference in the bowls. She's playing with wood, him with competition. Slightly lighter. The wood as well.
Yes, around about 210, I think, Karen's bowled.
There's a couple of ounces between them, but one wood, one composition. They reckon the composition have a way of pulling up. That's pulled up, courtesy of wood.
That's on. That's definitely on. With some weight, Oh, he came awfully close to knocking his own bowl out then. So Karen stays with another single. Karen Johnston making life difficult for Mike Holden in more ways than one. Not only bowling brilliantly, but also a left-hander, which makes it very difficult for any player following a left-hander to pick their own line. But she is leading particularly well, Brian, isn't she?
She is, and she's bowling from this direction, cutting across towards the far scoreboard. They're bowling. When they go the other direction, look at this reply.
Oh, yes.
They seem to be semi-cobbing them out. But let's have a look at her here. She seems to be bowling. It's a very long sweep, a good step forward, a long sweep. She bowled that.
Can she win it? Can she win it? Can she win it? Oh, very unlucky. She's made it difficult for Mike to score two here, unless he can rest on Karen's second bowl.
Oh dear.
He's trying.
Oh, well. That was a bowl and a half. Absolutely brilliant delivery, that last one. Didn't seem possible.
No, there didn't seem room, did there? All the way in. And
just gently. Hello, two.
Is that what they call a log jam?
So 13 across as Mike Holden sets the block down below us here. And that's a very, very good lead. The rain has decreased very, very slightly. It's not driving down as it was 20 minutes ago. But it's still very, very damp out there. Looks like two.
This is a big end, Hugh, isn't it? Because earlier Mike actually built a lead of he had a break of 8, 4 doubles by going from this position away to the far left-hand corner.
Good road. Very good road. I think she's got it. She's won it. I think she's won it.
Johnston! Well.
Yes, she has. Well bowled. Sounded like something from Big Malayan then. I think she's got it.
Yeah, she's got guts, she's got stamina, she's got a lot of ability, and she is giving him a run for his money, and she's keeping him away from the far corner. These are very bowlable distances. The rain has eased, and it's now just a downpour, it's not torrential.
Yes, a nice little round peg mark. The bias towards the ditch. Back into the travel, the slope helps the bias, but not if the bowl is travelling too fast for the bias to do anything. Karen's pushed that one out just a little bit further. Come on down the hill now. Nope. Karen's bowl eminently beatable. Oh, well, well, well. Another single to Karen Johnston.
I think it's safe, Karen, that one. Johnson, one.
Well now, two chalks difference as they head into the, it's basically the last furlong. 15-13. Karen Johnston leading. And ladies' voices coming up around this green. They're all rooting for Karen Johnston, just as they were last year. Chances, chances. Yes. From our angle, it looks as though the blue bowl is in at the moment, yes. But
I'm sure you're right, Hugh. It was knock for knock, wasn't it, that end?
Well, when you see it from right overhead, there isn't much in it, is there?
I think she's got it.
Karen reckons she's got it. And Mike agrees. Well, we got shades of last year coming up, Brian.
Yes, what, Jane Jones, Maureen Bresnan, all beating the men.
Remember the downcast face of Chris MacDonald?
Chris MacDonald, oh gosh. He didn't do much wrong, you know. But when you go right, though, you remember Chris Corral playing Maureen Lyons. She almost in the first year, she had a great chance of winning that. That's but in these conditions, Hugh, you really wouldn't have given the ladies much of a chance.
No, indeed.
It's very difficult. Look at that lead. They're playing different diagonals when they get the chance. And the bowling now, aren't they? This screen appears to have soaked up the rain very well. The greensman was telling me this morning had a lot of slugs to clear off, whatever that means. I don't know. I presume that means wet weather. I don't know. But maybe they were looking for the egg that arrived yesterday. They're stopping.
That's on a length, and at the moment, she's definitely on.
Far enough there.
Oh, it's far, all right. Might be ditched.
Right through. It's gone. Two more. Well, this is absolutely brilliant stuff for Karen Johnston. Hair soaked by rain, scorning the use of a cap or anything like that. And this young left-hander from Warrington giving Mike Holden a bit of a run around. (21-7). Elsie Grisdale went out. Mike Holden getting here, of course, against Tommy Hayes. Well, staying out very fractionally. Not one of her better leads. Has she given Mike a chance here? No, bottom side. Gone out.
He followed her, didn't he? Followed the left-hander's line.
Yeah.
Slight adjustment called for.
done it, Karen, hasn't it, or has it?
I thought the yellow disc was on there. I thought Holden was on with that connection.
All right, Karen.
Jerry Ashcroft thinks so, yes. So Mike Holden getting a single, clawing his way back in again.
He's got a problem now, Hugh, because he knows she's played that diagonal particularly well. He's going to go straight ahead, isn't he? Straight up, and then try and get back to the other corner.
Mike Holden, 14. Karen Johnston, 18. He's gone too far. That's in the ditch.
Well, she forced him into that. She forced him to change the land and to go, hopefully, back to his old diagonal where he got a nice break of ace early in the game. Well, that's the pressure from the lady. She's not going there. She can go forward now to put it straight back on her favourite diagonal.
And what makes it extra difficult, of course, now, Brian, is that a left-hander has sent the block out. The right-hander's got a bowl to it.
Yes. It's difficult without having the feel of the block. Judge the distance, get the road absolutely right, and then follow the left-hander.
Well, he certainly didn't get the line. Now, can Karen remember where she put it? It's looking tidy. It's looking very tidy. Not quite enough running on it.
He's different this time. He needs a hit.
It's well underneath.
Gone out.
Great chance for two here from Karen. And that really would put the screws on Mike Holden.
She's followed his line, hadn't she, from the first delivery. With a hit.
That'll do, I think. I think that'll do. Yes. Two.
Johnson, 2.
Well, that was an original way of doing it, Brian.
Well, they all count, but she was offline, no doubt about it. And then that connection. But he was, what, 18-20 down to Hayes in his first round game. He's a fighter. It's not going for Mike Holden, isn't it? The crowd are rooting for the lady, as you would expect.
Tommy Johnston in the player's hut, well pleased with the work of his lady wife. Mike Holden had that ball on its road even before Karen's had stopped. A lot of nervous tension in Mike Holden's game now.
I think he's snatching a little at the deliveries. It's all against him, isn't it?
Ah, Karen. Sweet one, sweet one. Mike Holden. Could be his last bowl in this year's tournament. It is. Shrill voices of the ladies around this green lead the applause gathered by everybody else for Karen Johnston. Superb game of bowls by this young lady. Takes out the male representative of men bowling, Mick Holden, 21-14. Crushed him.
Karen, thanks for coming over very quickly. At least it gives you the opportunity to get out of the rain for a moment or two. What was it like out there?
When we first started, it was really chucking it down, really, and it was very heavy, and I was only just about reaching when Mike had that good run, and then it stopped, and it's gone yards faster now, and that's what's caught Mike out, I think. He's over-bowled towards the end.
I think what surprised a lot of people around the green and I think shook Mike a little bit was when you beat him and took a 2 in the far corner when I think the rain was at its worst and the green was at its heaviest, and you were launching them. They were like exocets.
Well, I just sent it as far as I could, really, and once it got over that bank, it was, you know, I was there. So, but I had to keep him out of that corner. And this corner's not so bad; it's not as far, so I was all right there.
Was it a little bit of hit and hope?
Well, maybe early on, yeah. You know, I didn't want to be short, so you've got to be up all the time.
Were you inspired in any way by Tommy's magnificent performance against N Burrows earlier?
Well, yeah, I suppose, you know, it helped me really. He played well, Tommy did, so I just had to go on and try and do my best really. You know, a win was a bonus really, so I just wanted to play a good game. So.
When you knew it was going to be like this, did you think that would be a disadvantage to you?
Not really. I like it when it's like this, when it is raining, but not perhaps that heavy really. You know, against the bloke, it was a bit different. So. Anyway,
you're still on course for meeting the old man, aren't you? In the semi-finals, possibly for a place in the final.
Well, you'll have to watch out then.
Lovely, thanks. Didn't she play well? This is the quarter-final draw. Mark Britton against Brian Duncan, the favourite. Alan Thompson against Alan Broadhurst. We'll have that for you in this session. David Copeland against Tommy Johnston, which will be joining momentarily. And Karen will play Stan Frith. So Karen in the quarterfinals there, and so too is husband Tommy, who's out there on the green at the moment. This is live action at the Woodland Hotel here in Ellesmere Port as the rain begins to drive down once again. Tommy leading 13-5. Roy Armstrong is with me, and he's on the mark that destroyed N Burrows, Roy, earlier this morning.
Yes, I was talking to Tommy at lunchtime and complimenting him on how he played, and he said, oh, it's no big deal. He said, once I got on my mark, he said, I'm in a channel there, and he said, I can't go wrong. He said, I don't know why the other players can't get them near.
Well, come on, fill us in. Why can he play it so well and no one else? He's on the block again.
It's just confidence, isn't it? You know, it's all in the mind. He's once he gets on this mark, he knows what he can do. And the other players, when he's leading like that, he's forcing the other players to reach up. And when they do that, they're either one side or the other. Having a good try here, but again, just the other side.
Karen, incidentally, has gone home to dry off and count the money, Roy. They're already quids in.
Yes, again, I was mentioning that to Tommy at lunchtime, and he said, well, he said, I didn't get to see the programme last night. He said, so I think we might get the money together and buy a video cassette recorder.
Of course, the two of them are already guaranteed £1,000 for getting to the quarter-final stage. £500 each. But what about David Copeland, Roy? John Bancroft's tip for the championship not so long ago. He's got a bit of work to do here.
Yes, I think he's met a Tommy Johnston, just, you know, playing like a stormtrooper, and David's reaching up all the time, just missing, just getting the wrong tigs. I feel it's a really mountainous task that he has now. I can't see him overcoming Tommy.
Yep, the hot bowls this week, as we said earlier, being played by Brian Duncan, the favourite, and that man out there at the moment. Well, not David Copeland there, he's on the receiving end. Tommy Johnston is one of the two men really in form at this year's Bass Masters. Let's join our commentators, who are Brian Brett and Hugh Johns.
Thank you, Elton. And you join us as they're measuring for a double for Tommy Johnston. He scored a single here for certain. Just a question of whether he can get two out of it. One it is. And this a dramatic turnaround in actual fact, I think, Brian Brett, because after the first two ends, for the very first time in this year's Bass Masters, Tommy Johnston was behind.
It was only 2-0, but again at 4-2 and 4-3. But when we look back, he's won his two games most impressively, hasn't he? Against N Burrows, and look back a bit further against Tony Reardon. So, David Copeland's got to get two more chalks to beat what they managed. That was 6 apiece.
That's right. David was bowling pretty well early on, but as Roy was saying just now, once Tommy got onto this diagonal mark across the green, he has really just piled it up. He's in the middle at the moment of a 5-7 chalk break. He's already got one bowl on the target.
Look at that.
And there's another one.
Actually, David Copeland has bowled this diagonal particularly well, Hugh, without managing to count much.
Yes, there was that end a couple ago when it looked as though it was going to be no end with both of them sitting on the block. And David unsettled them with his last bowl and wound up one down. But he's got a winner there. And that will give him new inspiration, I would suspect. David Copeland, the Greater Manchester county captain. Bowler since he was 13 years old. And a semi-final performance here, his very best when he lost to Brian Duncan. A very close game, incidentally. Went down just by the one chalk, 2021.
Having led 2014, if you remember.
Yes.
And there was that terrific corner-to-corner strike by the master that changed the whole course of the game.
Beat Mr. Bacon. That was fairly level until the rains came, and then Martin Bacon lost his way completely. Wasn't using his regular bowls, and he got found out by the weather.
Significant change here, understandably, by David Copeland. He wants to get Johnston out of that corner, which he's trying to do. Incidentally, Mike Holden has gone away. He's going to make a few bob today because he's playing over in Liverpool, where he should have been playing Tommy Johnstone. But Tommy has had to pull out of that competition to play here live this afternoon in the Bass. So Mike goes through, courtesy of Tommy.
Tommy, who we'd seen earlier today with the water just dripping off the peak of his cap, wins it with his second bowl. Yes. He is having a splendid game in as much as he's leading to his own block with some regularity. But when he's required to make an adjustment, his second bowl is almost inch perfect every time.
This is soul destroying, really, isn't it? Because people have played quite well against him. I don't think that No Burrows really was as bad as the score suggests. Tommy really played out of his waterproofs this morning.
Yes, there's the score. Noel Burrows scored 6, and he was saying himself that that's that's one of the best games he's ever played, yes. Only to score 6.
Getting them close. This is difficult to beat. The road is masked by the 2 first bowls. A turnover.
Terry Ashcroft.
This ball is just saved at the yellow disc. Just.
Well, in that case, he doesn't need to do turnover. He can afford to play on his own ball, but it really does demand some precision.
Tommy shakes his head. He doesn't believe it. I must admit, looking from here, I would have thought that the blue ball was a millimetre in front. However, what will this do? Well, I should have thought then, if there's any doubt at all, it's definitely Tommy Johnston won. David then got something. Unlucky. A collision might just now have left 2. 1. That was very unlucky for David Copeland, wasn't it, Brian?
It was, but this is the second ball from Johnston where he turned over almost in disbelief that he's on at any rate, and then he sorted it, didn't he, with this. Found a new road in. Absolute perfection.
And the unfortunate thing from David Copeland's point of view is it leaves Tommy back on the mark that has gathered so many points in this tournament so far. If he goes out from here, it really would be quite remarkable. All 3 games, 21 sixes.
Well, it would, but looking back to David Copeland's 2 wins, they were both 21-12. Ironic. Oh, 1 by an inch.
Oh, David surely must deliver here. Just about won it, I should think.
Yes, I would agree with you. Hugh,
Not a lot in it, though, Brian.
No.
Yes,
Couple of inches.
Tommy says yes.
Makes history, doesn't it? That's the most anybody's taken off Tommy Johnstone so far.
David, project cost controller with British Aerospace. Greater Manchester Merit winner 5 years ago. Won a lot of good competitions, hasn't he, Ryan?
Well, he has. He's won at the Star Inn and the Floodlit there. The Stamford Van Hire, no longer with us, unfortunately, but they are top tournaments. He's from a bowling family. Brother Steve is a fine player as well. He's not going to pack this in, Hugh. He's got a lot of bottle, this lad. He'll stick at it.
Tommy's on the road. Oh, good gracious me. That almost turned around and came back up the green.
That had a look at the jack in disgust and turned away again. Still on.
David, normally with slightly heavier bowls than Tommy. I think these are 213s. Tommy won 212s. There is the most remarkable little hillock where those three bowls are gathered, because they're turning sharp left there. No hand signals or anything. Just away they go.
Too far.
Won't stop. One out.
Copeland, one.
The rain that has absolutely drenched the brave spectators huddled up in warm clothing round the Woodlands Green during the course of the day has eased off actually at this moment, but it's still a little bit parky. So as that bowl creeps in, Elton and Roy downstairs might have a better view than we do from up here.
Superb view of this end, Hugh. Very important end for David Copeland, Roy.
Oh yes, he's got to do something here to stay in the game, and Tommy's really trying there. Two very, very close bowls. And of course, last time David Copeland was at the Bass Masters in 1990, he was actually 2014 in front. The roles have been reversed now. He's behind, and he's got to try and do the same thing that Brian Duncan did to him.
Certainly got a bit of running on this one, hasn't he?
It's coming good. Coming off the top. Might just be a little bit too low. Yeah, that's gone past. He's only one in. Let's see what Tommy does here now. He'll just play to beat it, I think. Finger peg just coming off the top now. Very, very close. Very close indeed. Yes, he's done it. What a super bowl. He's made two off that. He will not be denied.
18 chalks to 8, Tommy Johnston. Do you just get the feeling, Roy, that this could be his year as we watched again that superb delivery from Tommy Johnston?
Yes, everything's going right for him, isn't it? He was just playing to get nearest to the jack. In so doing, he's sat on the back bowl, pushed it out, and made two. Perfect. I've thought all along that Tommy would go far, and here he is now. He's going finger peg right in the other corner, all uphill, around about 48 yards. He's on fire.
Thanks, Elton, and what a cracking lead bowl that is. Because you were talking about Tommy are going the whole course, all the way to the final. That wasn't a bad bowl from David. But Tommy, I suppose extra inspiration. He is in cracking form, is Tommy Johnston. And he always looks back on 1987 as a sadness when he reached the final of the Bass, but because of an industrial dispute at that time, cameras were not here to record that match. Very good game indeed. He lost to Chris MacDonald, but at least he reached the final, but was never seen on the screens doing it. So I think he's set his stall out this time. Plans to be there. Good bowls, David Copeland. Well, there's a renewed challenge coming up from David Copeland, the chap from Chadderton, Oldham. John Bancroft's tip for a surging run, perhaps right the way through to clinch the title. Well, he's got the chance now if he can put a little run together. Might, just might unsettle Tommy Johnston, but not with a lead bowl like that, I fear. Tommy, I think, is only just about going to beat it, if indeed he has. Well, he's straighter, but I don't think that has beaten the blue bowl. Those are two very weak efforts. And he's not going to be short this time. Right on the money. Tommy turned his bowl over and is aiming for the block. No.
Well, that has run out, but he's looking for two. It might just be a measure for the second, because he did actually touch the jack when he ran through that excellent bowl, David Copeland. If they take the first bowl out, he's got to.
Well, that was a beautiful bowl, wasn't it, from David Copeland?
He needed this, didn't he? He certainly needed two. It was a massive adjustment, wasn't it? Over a yard and a half adjustment required.
Lovely delivery. And the tightness in the eyes, the lips pursed. David Copeland stalking away, looking after his lead bowl. He's left it short again. There's only 6 chalks in it now. Tommy's lead, 18-12. Needs to hit something. That'll do. So that's pushed the jack into a totally new piece of land.
You've got a whole new ball game now. This could be bad news for David unless he can stop a double at this end. That's nice.
Well, that was the other way of doing it. Tommy finds himself one down after that greenside collision. And pulls away for a moment as a wasp was having a go at him.
That's the closest anybody's got to him today. These 12 chalks. Well, you know,
there's
that's
weight
something
there.
special. Look at this.
Oh,
Gap.
no.
Ah.
Copeland, one.
So a 5 chalks run. More importantly, keeps the block away from the trusty right hand of Tommy Johnston, and The scoreboard tells the story. 18-13 now.
Yes, and more than double those he's conceded in his previous 2 games.
Now, this could be a little bit tricky. Thumb peg. Tommy shakes his head on that. That is a mile and a half short. David needs to take just a couple of feet of running off his first delivery. Took too much off. Let's see what sort of adjustment Tommy Johnston can make. Much too great. Well.
Yes, what has he left?
Well, we know he's left 1, that's for certain.
We'll have a look for 2 here.
Could be just this yellow one, David. Whoa.
You can ask for a measure.
It's a measuring job.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Very important. Counts 2 at this end. He's suddenly back in it. But he has stuck at it, Hugh, hasn't he, David Copeland?
Yes.
A very gritty performer. He's cut himself off from everything, even almost the scoreline, and just kept playing. He's not played badly at all.
That one. That one, please, first.
Oh, we're going to measure 3, aren't we? We measure both the yellow against one blue for second. Yes. I hadn't actually put that one in it, but
that blue one, please.
Tommy reckons so. That's the Copeland one.
Okay. Copeland, 1.
Just the one, but 1 he gratefully takes. Now there's only 4 in it. A short while ago there was 10.
Not got a bad record on this screen, has he, David Copeland? I think he's played it, what, 7 times, and he's won 5 or 6 of those. Look at that lead.
Beautiful lead. Tommy easily the more experienced of the 2 of them on this particular green.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is his sixth appearance in the Bass.
He's had varying fortunes, hasn't he, when you look back, Hugh? 1985, he lost 21-5 to John Bancroft. And 21-7 to Brian Jenkins in 89.
Took out Brian Duncan in 87. Then lost to Brian in 90. He's played the best of them, one way and another.
Played the best and beat them. He beat Colin Trousdale 21-6 the year after he was defended his title.
Copeland.
Well, David Copeland's on a charge. The prize, a guaranteed £1,000 to the winner for getting to the semi-final. Loser will take home 500. And as that bowl comes down to the corner, I think Roy Armstrong might have something to say about the way that David Copeland is charging back into this match.
Certainly is, Hugh. Actually, the point I wanted to make to Roy was, for the first time in the 92 Bass Masters, Tommy Johnston is under a bit of pressure.
Yes, he had a little bit of a wobble, didn't he? When David Copeland came down here the last time, he He played 2 very weary bowls. I think there's no danger yet, but there will be if David counts this end. He's got a connection again, hasn't he? You know, he's lying in now, but I think David is likely to beat that ball, because that's a yard and 6 off. Here he is now coming off the top. He's certainly far enough. Here's the bias taking effect now.
Going out.
Just gone out. Chance for to get 20 for Tommy now.
David has just thrown his rag in the air and disgusted himself. He is very, very disappointed with that bowl, Roy, and if Tommy can cash in here with another one, that takes it to 20-15, and surely there'll be no way back after that.
No siree. Here's Tommy now. He's got 2. He's on 20. He'll make sure now. He'll wrap it up at the next end, I feel sure.
Yes, it was, as you were saying, Roy, a very important end. And it was the coolness of Tommy Johnston. Not a particularly tight end by any manner of means, but a desperately vital one. At 7 chalks canter by David Copeland, ending right there, and with it probably his chances of going on to the semi-final. Tommy needing just that one vital counter. David has got to dig deep into the depth of experience that he has after some 20 years of bowling to get back in there. Well, that's close enough to cause Johnston some concern. Now, is this the winner? Is this the match winner? No, it's not. David Copeland is back in again. Now, if he can count 2 here. Oh, doesn't want to do that. Well, it's worked all right for him. He's got 2 out of it. So he lives again. Now the pressure builds again on David Copeland. And again he comes down into the corner, down below our commentary position. Yet another desperately important mark has been set. Unlucky, just perhaps a little too strong.
Yes,
as he's rolled on through.
There was applause, but in fact he's left a good opportunity for this bowl to finish it, because he's going to be under pressure in a moment.
That could very well be the bowl that takes Tommy Johnston into the semi-final. David Copeland has got to cope with this. If this misses everything, and it does, they stay down there. The handshake has happened. David Copeland's chance went. Tommy Johnston's nerve held. And Tommy Johnston continues his charge towards a possible appearance in the final, winning here against David Copeland. 21-17, he's in the semi-final.
Right, it's not going so badly for the Johnston clan, Roy, is it?
No, they've done great, haven't they? They've both played really well, and yeah, I'm sure they'll both be very delighted about that. Yeah, smashing.
Right, well, Tommy's on this side of it. Come in, Tom. Well done. Congratulations. Karen's not here. I don't think she likes to watch you play, does she?
She's a good judge, isn't she, really? Might put her off for tomorrow.
It's been a smashing week for the 2 of you, for the family, hasn't it?
Super, yeah. You know, it's just like, you know, it's a pleasure, like Karen as well, you know. It's hope she beats Stan tomorrow.
Yes, of course, she's lined up with the match against Stan Frith, and then if that's the case, it's the two of you in the semi-finals.
Might not turn up me.
You'd be too afraid. You might bring the rolling pin, you know.
Well, I don't know. See about that now.
Listen, you're under a little bit more pressure there today, this afternoon, than you were this morning against Noel.
I just seem to stop concentrating really, just towards the end of the game. Well, it's been a long day, like I've played twice. It's just, I think it's just all the waiting about really, you know, before the game.
Final question, Tom. When you play as well as you did against Noel, I mean, I don't think it would be unfair to say that you peaked. Is it difficult then to come out again and to emulate that standard of play?
Sometimes you do play too well, you know, really, and you try and get over a bad game, really. I don't feel that was it, you know, it's had a bit of a wobble there. It's just won, so I'm quite pleased about that, really.
You're in the semi-final, you're on course. Thanks, Tommy. And so, of course, is Karen. The two of them going pretty well here at the Bassmasters this week. We're going to take a break right now. After that, we've got Alan Broadhurst against Alan Thompson. Don't go away.
Well now, where do you root out what you want? With 5 sections, the Thompson directory is bound to know.
Free, a great glossy football fixture guide for you to keep. All the league matches for England and Scotland. Buy your big value people tomorrow.
This tiger has always meant the very best in performance. Now observe him. Married, mortgaged, and like any proud father, worried about the world in which his children will be growing up. No wonder then you'll still find Esso ahead of the game when it comes to cutting down petrol emissions. A new generation of Esso for every new generation.
Atkins, thoroughly rested after our little break, are we?
Well, not ever so, JD. You dispatched innumerable faxes.
Ah, yes, well, it's our new expression range, you see. Now, we must be word perfect for the presentation.
Yes.
Are we?
Special editions at special prices.
Alloy wheels on.
Cavalier and Astra.
Fuel injection.
Nova and Astra.
Slogan.
Perfect expressions of style and value, JD.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Actually, I have a little idea of my own.
Oh, nice surprise.
Just hold that for a wee minute.
Take your silly face off that expression.
Malcolm now. What's the panic, Kowalski? It's my night off.
Patrol trapped on that ledge, Malcolm.
What are they, mice or mounties?
Jump! But they've gotten a new supply of Labatt's.
Okay, I want ropes, yes, helicopters, yes, paramedics, and St. Bernards. Move it, move it! Harris! Lose the bear. Totally unconvincing. Easy, boys. That's valuable. Sorry, but we don't have any room for... you guys.
Labatt's. Malcolm the Mountie always gets his can.
Some people find that traditional indigestion tablets leave a chalky, gritty taste in their mouth. New Remigel are different. You'll find they're soft, chewy and minty. Remigel dissolves smoothly, work quickly and effectively to help soothe away indigestion. New Remigel. They're chewy, not chalky.
Kelly LeBrock reveals the essence of man.
It's hard to define. It's in the way he laughs, the way he smiles, in the way he kisses, the way he's so stubborn. He's always trouble. That's a man. And when he holds you close, it's in the way he smells. Brute, the essence of man.
Fanfare for a new world. For one spectacular night, the King's Dock Liverpool plays host to a royal gala, featuring Montserrat Caballé, Sir Peter Ustinov, and many other stars in a breathtaking night of music and fireworks. Tickets from just £29.50, including transport from over 70 towns in the northwest. Book now on 051 707 2727.
The only way to get a higher rate than your top 10 Building Society notice account and instant access is to call this number. I would, if I were you.
Well,
Welcome back. We've got a roses match for you now between Alan Broadhurst of Wigan, from the Lancashire area, and of course Alan Thompson of Yorkshire. Well, there is Alan Thompson. He's got the block, but Broadhurst is pretty comfortably in front in this match by 17-12, although Thompson is beginning to fight back a little bit, although one has to say, and Alan knows it, that is not a good lead bowl. The commentators are Roy Armson and Brian Brett.
Now then, quite a correction call for in length, in direction. He set the mark himself. He's only himself to blame if this doesn't arrive on the scene. That's not bad. Ah, yes, it's all right. A slight pause now. I think Alan Broad is getting a bit fed up of these connections that he's made. That's last three ends he's had contact.
Yes, ideally, I think Alan Broadhurst would like to knock that ball off, but it's an awful long way up there. To be accurate with a strike,
can't get
for a tremendous ball.
The short ball makes it difficult. I was bowling up to it. It's got to be far enough. It's got to run more and more. A lot of running to do yet, and it's not there. Tried for him, didn't it? Go. All that way for nothing. Thompson. Another single. Alan Thompson. Now then, is he going to come back here? It's worked for him over the last couple of ends. This is 3 successive ends he's won. 4 chalks, 13-17. Back again. Both going for similar lengths, but different pegs. That looked a bit tight. Oh, it's dropping now. Dropping nicely. Well, what a pity. A couple of feet short. This is a different approach. Different approach, different strength. Needs the jack or he's through. Right, Thompson. It's 13-17. Holding 1. Counts 2 at this end, he's back in it. Well, he's holding 2. So Broadhurst. Again, a slightly different approach. Looking for some pegging in his bowl roundabout now. Has it done enough? Has it done enough? He reckons so. Broadhurst reckons he's got it. Thompson agrees.
Broadhurst. One.
Yes. Long range, but it worked for him. Another single, Alan Broadhurst. Stops a little charge by Alan Thompson. 18-13. He's thinking about changing the diagonal, Roy, isn't he, here?
Yes, once again, good tactics by Alan Broadhurst, taking quite a lot of time, wondering whether to go up to the scoreboard, thumb peg. I think that's what he fancies. He's just not quite sure of what the running is there, but he's got the jack. That should be what he should do.
Well, but they've played the other diagonal. Again. Yes, go at it different peg. He kidded us for a moment. Yeah. He wasn't happy about going up there, was he, Roy?
He wasn't. No, he was a bit apprehensive about what the running was like, so he thought, I'll go where I've been before.
Yes.
Playing thumb peg, about 44 yards up here, just under the crown. Got a lot of running to do up here with a decent finish, and I think he's not so bad here. I think he's about a yard off.
Just a little more running required in the bowl. Thompson could well have learned from that, because this is pegging now towards the jack. Oh. Had a beautiful road in. So Broadhurst, 18-13, his advantage as we are in the 23rd end. Fascinating cat and mouse stuff. Just needed a promotion. important now that Alan Thompson just gets some advice from referee Mary Ashcroft.
Just like the blue ball.
Oh, now the blue ball.
Yard over.
That's Alan Thompson's. Gets the vote from the referee. Thompson likes this. He stayed on the footer. He's watched all the way in. That sorted things out. That's certainly one, maybe two. Two very important. 13-18 before we sort out this end. Certainly one. The back bowl is the yellow of Alan Broadhurst. That's kicked out. Broadhurst accepts that. Wants a wider look at the other two.
Thompson.
Yes. Two. Alan Thompson. (15-18). Still quite damp out there. Not as much rain as before, but still heavy going.
And other the conditions, Brian, they're playing a really good game. You know, they're not rambling, either of them. No. They're just playing good balls, a yard past the jack when their opponent's counting. They've played a really solid game, both of them.
Well, look at this again, Roy. Now he's getting towards sort of trolley area. He's gone over it, but he's gone further.
Yes, he's playing finger peg. A little bit of a round peg mark here, round peg finish. Past the channel, as you say, is about 3 yards past the channel. Somewhere different, which again is good
not
tactics.
Bad, is it?
A yard
not
off.
Bad. Yeah. Well, he's a thinking bowler. They both are. They're just trying to outsmart each other. They've stuck to the same sort of land, but all of a sudden there's a change in tactics. Might just catch him out here. He's only a foot short of counting.
You're on.
Alan Thompson will give his bowl a bit more to do here, hoping to get round the yellow bowl and count another.
3 inches.
He's a bit concerned about any contact on the back bowl of Alan Broadhurst, so he has gone a lot wider and will now drop. Now this could be all right. Stuck out a bit.
Oh,
stuck out. Yeah. Didn't do much pegging at all there. Now Broadhurst got a nice sighter there, can work inside. Oh, it's not going to do it. Oh, I think not. So he's straighter. He reckons he's got it. The accountant reckons he's got it. Alan Thompson reckons he's got it.
Broadhurst.
Yes.
One.
Another single. Important. 19-15. A double away from game. Well, this is going to be shortish.
Yes, this is the mark that Alan Broadhurst has used on previous occasions when he's been to the Bass. He's only going about 25 yards here, going thumb peg, but he's played a short one.
Well, isn't it funny, when you shorten the length dramatically, you invariably send your first ball short, and it gives your opponent the chance just to sneak past. Yes. 19-15. The advantage. Broadhurst leads. He needs 2 for game. He needs to learn from his first delivery and from Thompson's and get down and drop. But he hasn't done it. Good chance now for Thompson. Certainly one. Certainly one. Enough, maybe. Let's have a look at it.
Thompson.
Certainly one to Thompson and confirmed as 2. No arguing. Right. It narrows again. 25 ends. Thompson with the jack. Broadhurst with the lead. 19-17. That's the advantage. Different again, Roy, isn't it?
Yes, he's keeping out of the corners, playing finger peg up to the north stand, right through the centre of the green, about 35 yards. He likes finger peg, doesn't he, Alan
Yes,
Thompson?
doesn't he? Just he's worked his way around the green with that hand. I'm just thinking that normally there would be no room behind that jack. That's a useful little hit. Put the brakes on. Is it going to stop? Yes. because in normal playing conditions behind the jack there's no room at all, there is there?
That's right. He's as a result he's 5 feet past, so it's Alan's approaching the lush part of the green now before the downhill finish. He's got caught in the thick grass.
He's not got up, has he? Yeah. So now it's up and down and up again, and then another little rise past the short bowl. That's the plan. Well, he may hold to, but you would think that Broadhurst can sort this out. Now then, Alan Broadhurst needing 2 for game. May only be able to get 1 at this end. Yes, single to the yellow of Alan Broadhurst. Oh dear. It's hard work, isn't it? But 20-17, Alan Broadhurst with the jack into the corner. And again, he's come at it a different way. He's come thumb peg. A little bit of movement at the end. Well, just a shade through. Thompson quickly after it. He's not given up by any means. Will the bowl give up? Will the bowl run up? It's done just that. Yes. Well. Broadhurst leading 2017. 1 against him at this end. More running in the bowl. Now. Bending. Moving. Enough. Nope. Nope. He's not going to win at this end. If he wins it at all, it's not going to be this end. It's certainly 1 to Alan Thompson. He'll want 2. Oh, don't hit anything or you might just give yourself the game away. No. Oh. Oh. Almost blew it, but instead he gets 2. Oh, what are you doing? Almost suicidal. Still 2 to blue. Alan Thompson, 19. Alan Broadhurst, 20. Now we're going to sort it out this end, the 28th end. Where are we going, Roy? All the way back, finger peg?
What a finish, isn't it? Both going for game now. I think he'll go up towards the players' pavilion here. I think he'll go finger peg up towards the players' pavilion. Yeah, there he goes.
You read it.
Right over the centre of the green. Long way here, about 45 yards.
Yes, it's just a little area they haven't played before. Good tactics, needs a lead. Now, moving closer and closer. Just, what, 18 inches maybe? Through, fair lead. Broadhurst needs 1. Thompson needs 2. Can't do it. Through. Come on, Alan, they shout. But which Alan? Is it A-double-L-A-N, Thompson, or A-double-L-E-N, Broadhurst? This is Thompson needing 2, holding 1. Pressure is suddenly going to be on Alan Broadhurst. They like this. This is going to count 2 at the moment. He needs 2. At the moment, he's holding 2. Alan Broadhurst. Right, he has led from the early stages 7-3. And then he built 16-9. He was 19-15. He's now fighting to stay in the game. He's looking for this to bend and work for him. And it's saved. It's saved 1. We are going to be all square at 20-20.
That was a brilliant bowl, Brian. He played to get second chance getting first, and he almost did it.
Oh, what a game. I mean, we're now into what, the 29th end. 20-20. The 29th end. Alan Thompson is setting this mark. Finger peg. Straight across the green. Need to lead. What a time for a lead. Really, he's been a mile behind in this game, Alan Thompson, but now they're both going for game. Fair lead. What, a foot to one side off the jack. Right across the green. He's got a good sighter. Alan Broadhurst, massive early lead. 16-9, 19-15. And suddenly it's gone against him. He's not getting the rubs now. Thompson, concentration, tunnel vision, just getting on with the job. Doesn't want the hard luck story. He knows all about it. He's been in the game a long time. He wanted two. He's put another one in. He needs one. They both need one. He's holding two.
And Alan Broadhurst has got a difficult choice here.
Yes.
It's no use in playing that ball out because Alan Thompson's got second ball.
That's the point, Roy, isn't it? That he can't afford to strike. He's got to try and win. Maybe he can take the jack. Maybe he can rest the ball out. Maybe it can work for him. Who wins? Thompson wins. That has gone through. What a finish. What a fine game. 29 ends, and we have a winner. Alan wins, as we know, but it's Alan Thompson 20, Alan Thompson 21, Alan Broadhurst 20.
Well, another cracking game, and as far as the quarterfinals are concerned, it's 2 down, 2 to go. Still to come, Mark Britton against Brian Duncan and Karen Johnston against Stan Frith. The two results that we have in the quarterfinals so far: Alan Thompson beating Alan Broadhurst 21-20, and Tommy Johnston beating David Copeland 21-17. Alan Thompson, Roy, seems to have the taste for it.
Yes, Alan's a good competitor and he's played really well today. In fact, the standard of bowling today has been tremendous. I was just talking to some people a little while ago and they were saying how impressed they've been, and they've gone away determined to try and emulate these players the way they've played today.
Just getting back to Alan Thompson, 2-3 times he qualified. In fact, he let Stan Frith in one of the tournaments that he qualified for.
That's right. Yes, Alan's a fine player. He's very experienced. Hasn't done too well here before, but he's really looked good today. Alan Broadhurst thought that he'd given it away, but I think he rather underestimated Alan Thompson, who played a superb game.
Right, let's look at what we've got left tomorrow. Finals day tomorrow, of course. Where's your money going? Have you changed your mind? Tommy was your original tip, Tommy Johnston.
Yes, no, I've seen nothing today to make me change my mind. Obviously Brian Duncan is the man, and I still think that Brian Duncan and Tommy Johnston will be in the final.
It really promises to be a sensational day again tomorrow. I know we've been saying it the past 3 days, but it all augurs well.
Yes, because of course we've also got Karen Johnston and Stan Frith. What a game that's going to be. She's played tremendous today under the worst conditions of the day.
And as we've been saying, it's a possibility of Mr. and Mrs. meeting in the semi-finals. Another great day. It'll be even better tomorrow, finals day at the Bassmasters, 1:40 in the afternoon. Join us then.